This video will be an introduction to video editing and motion design. If you have an interest in going into any of these areas, this video will give you so much insight as to what they are about and what softwares you need to learn. And we'll be rounding off with some tips and tricks on video editing in response to DP Wittiwell 3239's request. I got you, bro. Let's go. Hey there, my name is King Tech. I'm a creative. I've been in the space for almost a decade now, served in so many roles from graphic design to illustration to video editing and even motion design. On this channel, my goal is to share some of my knowledge in various areas of tech and freelance. And if you're interested in such topics, do well to join us and subscribe to this channel. And while at it, drop a like on this video. It helps us a lot. And lastly, if you have any video ideas you would like to see me create, do well to drop it in the comments below and I'll have that video made for you. So today we'll be talking about video editing and motion design. Quite frankly, they both work hand in hand as some principles can spill over from one to another. Video editing is the act of clipping video clips together to tell a story or convey a message, and audio is also a crucial part of a video, as it is said that audio is 50% video. Audio, of course, can be speeches or just music or just effect, depending on what delivers the intended message. So you have to pay attention to it. And for motion designing is basically introducing computer generated graphics on your videos to visualize what is being said or talked about, which is subjective though, as some videos can be used almost entirely without any form of motion graphics on it, but it is very rare and it doesn't always come out looking the best. Take for example effect like this, showing what is being said or called out. This is motion design and animation. Of course, it goes way deeper than just having it on the video. I mean, it can stand alone literally, but we'll talk about the easier ones that goes on a video. And a video editor who knows how to also motion design can definitely charge more for his services. Something you should know is that the software part, where we get to cut and join clips, add effects and make the video look nice, is the very last part of a video project. There are three main stages to video production, and it doesn't matter if it's a big multi-million-dollar project or it's a $1,000 short film. These processes cannot be skipped. I mean, that is if you want to have an amazing project though. Now, there are three stages. The first part is the most important part, which is called pre-production. This is the stage where you plan out your video, making sure everything is put in writing, expressly written out in clear details, sometimes down to the camera angles that you'll be shooting with, lighting positioning and everything like that. Again, this part can be done quickly or slowly, it doesn't matter. There has to be a plan. After that, the next part is called production. This is the stage where the plan that has been written down are being executed, like actually shooting the video, bringing all the plans to life, everything. This is where you get all the clips and whatnot. That's the second part. And the third and final part is called post-production, or just post for short. You might have heard some creative use the phrase "we'll fix it in post" or "I'll fix it in post." That's what it actually means. Now, this part is the part where you come in as a video editor. This is where the ideas from pre-production and clips from production is given to you as an editor. Now it's left for you to follow the script and direction of the story to produce a final movie. This explanation will be crucial in your journey as a video editor or a motion designer in order to make meaningful pieces that people will still want to watch many years from now. Now let's talk about the 4 soft skills that will make you a good editor or a motion designer. There are more, but I'll just keep it to my top 4. Number 1 is storytelling skills. Like I always say, everything around us has a story, and your ability to tell or deliver that story in your cuts and music choices is what will make you be regarded to as a good editor or motion designer. Number 2 would be observation skills or attention to details. This cannot be overlooked as it's one of the main skills that will stand you out as an editor. Say you come across a video, for example, or a creator's video, however, and you actually watch it with an open mind and you can spot some inconsistencies, or even watch your own videos and spot some things you could have done better, will definitely make you a good editor over time. Emphasis on over time because of course it doesn't take one successful project to become a good editor. You need to have done a lot, say upwards of 20, 30 or 50 videos. Number 3 would be curiosity. This goes without saying, you have to stay curious if you want to stay on top of your game and be informed. New things are happening on a regular, and the faster you are aware, the better for you. This way, nothing slips you. And lastly, creativity. You have to learn to be creative. Although creativity is subjective, but I believe one cannot get creative unless you have a wealth of knowledge on that subject. So you always have to consume content, consume other people's videos, other people's ideas. When you see a style that you're not sure how it's done, you maybe go on YouTube or use Google and browse it up, look it up, Again, talking about staying curious, when you keep doing that, at some point you will start having ideas of your own and you can get creative with it. I mean, at the end of the day, creativity, in my opinion, is the ability to be able to mix multiple ideas together to get a brand new piece, like Austin Kleon said in his book, Still Like an Artist. Anyways, now let's talk about industry standard software that you will need to learn for video editing or motion designing. For video editing, the most popular one would definitely be Adobe Premiere Pro. Everybody knows Adobe Premiere Pro. I mean, they've been around for a long time. So yeah, that is one software I would advise any beginner to get started with because it's fairly easy and its learning curve isn't so steep as opposed to the other ones I've mentioned. It has a fairly simple interface and you can start with that. There will be links in the description of this video if you want to buy any of the softwares mentioned here. And mind you, if you use the link in the description, you would also be supporting the channel at no extra cost to you. We also have another one called DaVinci Resolve, which is my favorite one right now. It's about 4 applications in one and its learning curve is quite steep, to say the least. I mean, I knew how difficult it was for me to actually transition to using DaVinci Resolve on a daily. So it's gonna take a while, but then I would advise you start with Premiere Pro. Then we have Final Cut, which is only available for Mac OS, and some other ones like CapCut, Filmora, ChipChamp, and so on. These are actually basic softwares. Maybe if you don't have access to a computer, you might want to start out with these ones. They can still do some amazing things though. So yeah, now let's talk about softwares for motion design. Motion design is categorized into 2 major parts, 2D and 3D. Now, a 2D designer cannot necessarily be a 3D designer because they both require 2 different skill sets. But then for 2D motion design, we have Adobe After Effects. Premiere Pro can also do some basic animations, but at a secondary level, primarily you want to use After Effects. We also have Fusion that is within DaVinci Resolve. These are powerful softwares that can do a lot of incredible stuff. I think that's as far as I know when it comes to 2D motion design. Then for 3D motion design, After Effects is also there to some extent. Then full-blown 3D softwares, Blender, Nuke, Cinema 4D, and a couple of others. These softwares I just mentioned are all industry standard. Any professional you see anywhere doing any of this stuff would most likely be using 1, 2, or all of those softwares. So yeah, so if you learn it, you are actually using a software that you could actually get employed for. It's not CapCut. I'm not trying to say CapCut is bad whatsoever, but then you are limited on those softwares. Anyways, note, in order to run motion design or video editing software smoothly, you will need to have a capable computer or laptop for these applications as they are quite demanding. I mean, they are quite a heavy program because these are professional programs that is expected to do everything. Alright, so for laptops and desktop, the basic requirement would be at least 16 gigabytes of RAM, which seems to be the base requirement these days. If you can get more RAM, that would be great. I mean, I have almost 50 gigabytes of RAM on my own laptop, so RAM is very important. Next, you need to have at least, at the bare minimum, 2 gigabytes of discrete graphics or dedicated graphics as some would call it. This is essential for handling graphic intensive tasks and not put so much load on the CPU. And talking about the central processing unit, CPU, an i5 or i7 processor will work fine as those are fast enough and have enough core to handle such tasks. For faster response time, having SSD storage would be so helpful. Otherwise, get a fast hard disk drive or use an external SSD. The difference between SSDs and hard drives is almost like night and day. Honestly, been there, done that. For Macs, I would advise you to go for one of the newer MacBooks or Mac with Apple Silicon chips, talking about M1, M2, and M3 chips. Also, just try and get one with at least 8 or 16 gigabytes of RAM. Those can run video editing like without any drag. Now let's jump on Premiere Pro and mess around with it a little bit. So DP Whittywell 3239 says, thank you for this beautiful video. Please, can you do a detailed video on how to do this teaching video? how you appear in the circle, and also show the phone tutorial, and also show your settings. For example, did you use 2 cameras or you use phone camera? Okay, so basically what he is asking here is how I did this whole setup. As you can see, by the way, this is DaVinci Resolve. It's the same concept across board. Okay, it's the same concept either with DaVinci, or this is also Premiere Pro. Like I said, Premiere Pro has a pretty simple interface. So basically, how I was able to achieve that, first off, I did not use 2 cameras, I used only one. The phone camera, the phone display that you can see here is actually a screen recording. It's not like I used another camera to record my phone screen. All right, it's a screen recording. So I mean, you know how to turn on screen recording on iPhone or on Android. So you want to turn on screen recording for your phone while you are operating it. All right, now this is the concept of a video editor. This is where we talk about being creative. So you see, you have to come up with things basically, although the other video editors would explain it differently, but this is how I do stuff like that. You get? Okay, something you should understand is that every video, in fact every creative software, works in layers, especially the professional ones. That means what's at the top appears in front, just like say Photoshop, for example. What's at the top appears in front on your screen, what's underneath appears behind the one that's on the top. So that's how it is basically. So if you take a look at our timeline here with DaVinci, as you can see, there is a line here. As you can see, this is V1, this is A1, that means audio 1, video 1. So this part downwards is audio, from here upwards are all video. So let me disappear some of, as you can see, the screen recording that I mentioned is this one, this sharp green one here, lime green color. Then video 2 is my own image. Now originally it wasn't in circle. Originally, you know, of course every video will come in either a rectangle or horizontal format, so you would want to give it the shape. So with DaVinci, I would use it's quite a lengthy process as opposed to, okay, no, that's not it. It's quite a different process as opposed to Premiere Pro. But with DaVinci, what I basically did is added a circle. Let me turn off the circle. This is it right here. This is called ellipse. Let me turn it off. Just delete it. As you can see, it's a full regular length long video. But then I added a circle. You know, attached it to this. As you can see, and of course not in the middle, so you would want to position it with the way you want to have it, and then it will appear in the circle. Then of course I turned on, like I mentioned, layering just now. This background, this, would I call it, is that blue, green, blue background or whatever, it's way down, it's this orange color here. So let me turn it off. You see, it will disappear. So basically that's how these things work. Let's go to Premiere Pro so you'd see how that works. Still explaining the whole layering thing. As you can see, it's in layers. This whole softwares to doing this stuff, they are all very similar, especially in their layer system, not in their settings. Every software have their own setting style. Okay, basically this lower part is audio, and from this line upwards are all I can only accept video. So if you should drag a video that has an audio into the timeline, it would automatically separate it. The audio will fall to this side of the screen, would fall to this side of the screen here, then the video will stay up here. Let me make an example of that. So this was the clip I just dragged in, and let me change this color so you can see that. Let's say mango. All right, so this orange clip now was the clip I just dragged into my timeline. As you can see, this is the video and this is the audio. So when I dragged it in, it came right, it separated itself. So if I want to edit my audio and make it sound better, I do that here and, you know, do what has to be done to make the audio good. So yeah, that's that. So let's say I want to, as you can see, this is a keyboard. Let me reduce the, so you come to effect controls and we want to reduce the scale. So let's say I want to make this video round, just like the same concept I used in that other tutorial video. what you do with Premiere Pro here, you can do it. There are several ways of doing this though, but the easiest way to do it is to come down to opacity and then hit your circle, your ellipse marks there. Premiere Pro's marking can sometimes be weird. So the eyes, this is almost a perfect circle. So you would either click all these edges to expand it, or you would use this. There's a gear here that you could use to actually expand the circle. Otherwise, just come down here to max expansion and then make it as big as you want. So let's say I want to highlight that logo, this Oramo logo here. I could just make it look nice, and then if I want to bring it off to the side so it would seem like that's what I'm talking about, you just want to mess with the scale a little bit. Boom boom boom. As you can see, now we have the video there. So let me just mute this and play that. So as you can see, it has appeared. So this is exactly how to do that. Basically, there's no one specific setting in order to get this kind of stuff. You just have to eyeball it. The basic thing is know the tools to get you the result. As you can see, why I say always start with Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro is extremely easy. I'm doing everything on one interface. I don't have to click to a different software. As opposed to DaVinci Resolve, that I'll have to move my clip to Fusion in order to get that effect done. So, but with Premiere Pro, you can pretty much get everything done here, and it's really easy. This is the effects panel. You just search for whatever you want, and oh, okay, I just remembered now. Premiere Pro also have an inbuilt preset for circles like this called I think it's called PVP, picture in picture, or PIP. Yes. So this PIP, although some of them are animated, like it will go from big to small and stuff. Let's see. Okay, this is square, but it will reduce the size. Let me see if it has anyone that can actually make it round. These are all. Wait, let me reset all of this and then just have it like a full screen, assuming it's this big. Then let's just try all of this. It's just scaling it down. It's not really making it round. It's not really making it round. But anyways, you get the gist. Anyway, so that's about it. You don't have to use Premiere Pro's inbuilt presets. They are not making it round. They're just reducing the size, which of course you can basically do with scale animation here, and just reduce the size if you want to. But in order to make it round, you would want to use opacity. You want to mask it out. There's something called mask, and then expand the mask and move it to whichever angle of the video you want maxed out, and just position it the way you want, and everything would be looking good. So basically, man, that's about it, I guess. And for motion design, basically, mind you, this is not a tutorial for motion. I'm not about to start teaching you how to do motion design, but then something like this now is an example of a motion design. You know, bringing text on screen to call out something that you are talking about. You see, basically, things like this is what like these numbers down here. You see stuff like that. These are motion design and animations. So this is not really a tutorial for that, but then if you want to see tutorial for specific things and how to do, of course we'll start out simple, and how to do some very light stuff. I'll show you how all that is done. And also, this is After Effects. This is how After Effects looks like. It just has some few tools up here, and also a couple of effects, as you can see down here. As you can see, the interface is pretty much very simple, but then when you start doing stuff inside, you would learn more about it. So this was just an overview of motion design and video editing. If you would like to see more in-depth tutorials on each of these software, maybe Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve, I mean, I've been using DaVinci for about 2 months now, so I've got some tricks up my sleeve. Anyways, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll make our time to make those videos. And if you have any questions, also drop it in the comments below, and do have to subscribe to the channel and drop a like. And with that being said, I'll catch you on the next one.